Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Asma. I'm from English Education Department D 2021. At this time, I will explain about one of writer in American literature period and one of his work. His name is Mark Twain, and the work is The Adventure of Huckleberry Finn in 1884. So we will start with his biography. So Mark Twain was born with name Samuel Langhorne Clemens in November 30, 1835 in Florida, Missouri, United States. He was well known as Mark Twain, George Thomas Jefferson Snodgrass. His occupation is writer, humorist, entrepreneur, publisher, and lecturer. Mark Twain was born from the couple John Marshall Clemens as his father and Jane Lampton Clemens his mother. He was married with Olivia Langdon in 1870 and his wife died in 1904. He has four children named Landon, who was died when he's still baby, and there's three daughters, Susie, Clara, and Jan. Mark Twain was died in April 21 in age 74, 1910. He was died in Stormfield House in Reading, Connecticut, United States. And he was in resting place Woodlawn Cemetery, Elmira, New York, United States. One of his relatives is Orion Clemens, his brother. And the next is another Mark Twain's work. So some of his most famous work, uh, except The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, is there is The Adventure of Tom Sawyer, The Prince of the Pauper, a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court, and Live on the Mississippi. Uh, that was nonfiction. So next we will talking about the book of The Adventure of Huckleberry Finn. So the story, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, open with Huck Finn's story about his present life at Widow Douglas and Miss Watson's house. How he was bored to death with the regular routine of life, net clothes, clean, school, and of the lesson of reading and the Bible. Huck missed his old life, sleeping in the wilderness, dirty and unkept and yet free. One day, Huck Finn, who thought he would never see his father again, found Pop waiting for him in his bedroom. Pop collects the money Huck gets from his adventures, even though Huck doesn't have the money. In short, Pop kidnapped Huck and took him to a cottage by the river. Even though he was locked up, Huck finally managed to escape, having previously created a setting which showed that he had been killed. That way, Huck was free to go boating on the river, away from Pop and from the widow Douglas, who, although kind and loving, still felt like he was holding him back. Thus began Huck Finn's adventure down the Mississippi River, exploring foreign islands and undercover to towns along the river banks. Then one day he meets Jim, Miss Watson black slave who is running away for fear of being sold. Together, Huck and Jim experience many exciting things. Next, we move to the analysis character. There is some characters in this story. The first is officially Huckleberry Finn as the main character, the protagonist and narrator of the novel. Huck is the 13-year-old son of the local drunk in Petersburg, Missouri, a town on the Mississippi River, frequently forced to survive on his own wits and always a bit of an outcast. Huck is thoughtful, intelligent, and willing to come to his own conclusion about important matters. Next is Tom Sawyer, Huck's friend, and the protagonist. The novel The Witch Huckleberry Finn is ostensibly the sequel. In the Huckleberry Finn, Tom serves as a foil to Hank, imaginative, dominating, and given to wild plans taken from the plots of adventure novels. Tom is everything that Huck is not. Next is Jim. Jim is one of the Miss Watson's household slaves. Jim is superstitious and occasionally sentimental, but he is also intelligent, practical, and ultimately more of an adult than everyone else in the novels. Next is Papin, Huck's father. The town drunk, Papin is a wreck when he appears at the beginning of the novel, with disgusting ghost-like white skin and tattered clothes. Next is the Duck and the Dolphin, a pair of conned men whom Huck and Jim rescue as they are being run out of a river town. Widow Douglas and Miss Watson, two wealthy sisters who live together in a large house in St. Petersburg, who adopt Huck. Judge Thatcher, the local judge who shares responsibility for Huck with the widow Douglas and is in charge of safeguarding the money that Huck and Tom found at the end of Tom Sawyer. The Grandfords, a family that takes Huck in after a steamboat hits his wreck, separating him from Jim, the kinder-hearted Grandfords, who after Huck a place to stay in their tacky country home, are locked in a long-standing feud with another local family, the Stephurst sons. Twain uses the two families to engage in some rollicking humor and to mock overly romanticized ideas about family honor. The Wilkes family. At one point during their travels, the Duck and the Dolphin encounter a man who tells them of the death of a local named Peter Wilkes, who has left behind a rich estate. The man inadvertently gives the con men enough information to allow them to pretend to be Wilkes, two brothers from England. Silas and Sally Phelps. Tom Sawyer's aunt and uncle, who Huck coincidentally encountered in his search for Jim after the conmen have sold him. And the last is Auntie Polly, Tom Sawyer's aunt and guardian and Sally Phelps' sister. Aunt Polly appears at the end of the novel and properly identifies Huck, who has pretended to be Tom, and Tom was pretended to be his own younger brother, Sid. From this story, The Adventure of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain, throughout this book, I think Mark Twain wants us to realize the meaning of freedom from a different perspective. Example, for Jim, freedom is to be a free man, not a slave. But for Huck, freedom is being able to do whatever he likes without being constrained by rules. Beside that, the topic of differences is also raised in this book, through the figure of Jim the slave. This novel was controversial because it was considered racist, with the use of the word Negro. But in my opinion, racism is a matter of how we treat other people who different with us, who same with us, or anything else. Not just a little, unless the term is deliberately made out of hatred.